Welcome to the lesson. In daily conversations, we often talk about future possibilities. First conditional sentences help us express real conditions and results. Today, we will learn how to use modal verbs in first conditional sentences. Let's review the first conditional sentence. The structure is if plus subject plus verbs in present simple. Subject plus will plus verbs in bare infinitive. It uses to describe real and possible situations in the future. For example, if it rains, we will stay at home. Let's learn about using modal verbs instead of will. Modal verbs like can, may, might, should, must, shall can replace will. This changes the meaning of the sentence slightly. Ability, possibility, advice, obligation, or suggestion. On this slide, we explore common modal verbs used in the first conditional. Notice how each modal verb brings a different shade of meaning. Will expresses certainty, while can shows ability or permission. May and might indicate different degrees of possibility. Should gives advice, must expresses obligation, and shall is used for making suggestions, often in formal contexts. Pay attention to the examples. They help you see how each modal changes the tone or intention of the sentence. This slide presents the general structure when using modal verbs in first conditional sentences. We visualize this with a pyramid to emphasize the building blocks. At the top, we have the overall sentence structure. If plus subject plus verb, present simple. Subject plus modal verb plus base verb. This is how we form the first conditional with modal verbs. In the middle, there's an important rule. Modal verbs only appear in the main clause. That's the result part of the sentence. They do not go in the if clause. At the base of the pyramid is the condition clause. Even when modal verbs are used in the main clause, the if clause must always stay in the present simple tense. Lastly, at the bottom left, there's a key reminder. Modal verbs only appear in the main clause, and the if clause remains in present simple. This structure ensures clarity and correctness when expressing real future possibilities using modal verbs. This is the summary slide, where we review the key points about using modal verbs in first conditional sentences. On the left, we see the purpose. The first conditional is used to talk about real possibilities in the future, as long as a certain condition is met. Moving to the right, we discuss modal verb substitution. Instead of always using will, we can use other modal verbs like may, might, can, should, must, etc. to express things. Finally, at the bottom right is the structure. The basic structure of the first conditional doesn't change. We still use if plus present simple, followed by subject plus modal verb plus base verb in the main clause. So in short, modal verbs allow us to make the first conditional more flexible and expressive, depending on what we want to say. Congratulations on completing the lesson. Goodbye and see you in the next lessons.